So far, the college basketball season has seen some elite freshmen play from various different prospects. From do-it-all wings like Cooper Flagg, to big guards like Dylan Harper and Kasparas Yakusionis, and to bigs like Asa Newell and Kaman Malawach, the freshman class this year is set to make a big impact in the 2025 NBA draft cycle after a few years of top prospects playing elsewhere. There is, however, one archetype in particular that has caught my eye that this freshman class is especially deep in. It's not the most ideal NBA archetype, but it is the small guard position. An archetype that tends to be loved by real hoop fans. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the freshman guards this year 6'3" or under, and what makes them special for their size and how their pro careers can go. As always, any likes or subs are much appreciated. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with Juny Mobley, he caught a lot of attention from fans and scouts after beginning his college career at Ohio State on an absolute heater from deep. At 6'1", Mobley started his college career averaging 15 points per game on 59% shooting from deep in just 19 minutes per game in that span. On the season, he's averaging 12 points per game on 44% shooting from deep on 5 three-pointer attempts per game. What makes Mobley so special as a shooter is his versatility. He's very comfortable shooting threes off balance and moving, punishing any defenders who can't navigate screens even if he's far out from Curry range. He's really slippery and a nightmare for defenders to keep track of. He can also put the ball on the floor and nail some pretty contested shots even though the handle is not perfect. And he's also shown flashes of being able to make the right pass or read when he's played off the line. His size and other aspects of his game will likely determine how far he can go in drafts or as a pro. He's currently averaging 1 turnover to 1.8 assists, and while he is in more of a shooter and not really a playmaking role, that is kind of alarming that a 6'1" guy is going to have to play off ball in the NBA. That kind of usually is a rare thing to see. I think as a pro, Mobley can definitely make it strictly off his shooting versatility and feel for the game offensively. Now, his size and impact elsewhere, like his rim pressure limitations and overall reliance on jumpers, as he's shooting 40% on twos, could hinder how far he goes as a pro. And he's currently in a slump during conference play too, so who knows if he'll declare this year or not, or if that's the right move to do. But shooting has never been more important in today's NBA. And when you look at guys like Seth Curry or the rookie season Jared McCain was having, I do think there's a promising path to have an NBA career for Mobley because of how special of a shooter he is. His hot start and good tape against teams like Kentucky and Texas, 2 teams with NBA talent on their roster, definitely moves the needle. However, it is important for him to get out of his slump in conference play. He needs his shooting to be an outlierish talent to make up for other deficiencies in his game. And for that, I think he should definitely test the NBA draft waters and take in some feedback from scouts and executives first. But returning to school and becoming a star could help his stock if his role and usage increases by the year and he develops better as an on-ball playmaker. NBA scouts always are down bad for age and, younger prospects. And overall, Mobley's a really fun player to watch, especially when the shot is hot. And I think his ceiling is, being able to play a solid bench role, spark club for NBA teams down the line. The next guy I want to talk about is Wright out of Baylor. Wright was a point guard of a stacked Mount Verde team in high school that featured the likes of Cooper Flagg, Asa Newell, and others. He's currently at Baylor averaging 12 points per game and 5 assists per game on 47, 43, 78 splits in under 30 minutes per game. Despite being a freshman, Wright has at times looked like the best player on Baylor thanks to his great feel and vision as a point guard. Earlier on in the season, he had a team-high 12.4 plus net rating. He's really poised at running the pick and roll and using the bounce pass and throwing the needle to hit rollers or punish overhelpers and find shooters. He's quick with the ball in his hands and can turn the corner pretty well for a finish, and is just super fast getting downhill and good at changing directions and being just a nightmare for defenders trying to stay in front on the back pedal. While the three-point volume hasn't been good, he is shooting a 42% from deep, so again, he's simply just a very solid traditional point guard with great feel and poise. Unlike a guy like Juny Mobley, Wright does not really have as pure of a NBA skill set like Mobley's shooting. He's kind of just a really good traditional college point guard right now who's going to be a minus defensively at the next level. I think the path for him is to return to Baylor next year when guys like Norchad Omier, VJ Edgecombe, Jeremy Roach are out of the picture, so his usage and production can go up. With a higher usage, he could, mask up some of the flaws he has in his offensive game, like the lack of three-point volume or his inability to get the line. Having the ball more could kind of improve his game as a shot maker or really show what his ceiling as an on-ball creator and initiator is. The traditional smaller point guards are slowly dying out, looking at a guy like Tyus Jones, who's kind of struggled to impact the Suns. So I'm a little iffy on Wright in that sense compared to Mobley, who's got the shooting in the modern NBA to, help him out. But overall, I think his production at the college level, whether it's this year, next year, or maybe as a senior, if he wants to go that route, I think ultimately he's going to just have a very good pro career, whether that's in the NBA or maybe overseas eventually. Tahaad Pettiford has made his mark early for number 1 ranked Auburn, having multiple big games off the bench against high-level teams such as Duke, Purdue, and Houston. He's currently averaging 11 points per game, 3 assists per game, on a great 45, 42, 92 splits in just 21 minutes of play. Pettiford's game is pretty eye-popping thanks to his limitless range, ability to create separation for himself, and how shifty he is with the ball. He's super comfortable around the perimeter, often drilling threes after putting the ball on the floor, as well as having a pretty damn good step-back jumper that he likes to go to a lot too. He's another top shooter in the class, getting off 5 attempts per game, and remaining one of the more efficient shooters, being able to drill behind the 4-point line from deep range as well. He's also comfortable in the mid-range, shooting 50% from far too, being able to operate in the pick and roll and manipulate his way into floaters and rising up to pull up jumpers. I mean, just look at some of the shots he's able to hit. You can play good defense on him and he'll still find a way to punish you thanks to his elite footwork and handle around the perimeter. There's more to scouting than the eye test and such, but Pettiford just has that it factor that makes it really hard to say he's not a pro, despite being just 6'1". Now, like the other small guards we've been talking about, Pettiford also struggles with rim pressure and finishing. He has a low rate of getting to the line at just 19%, which is the lowest of any guard we will talk about. And he's also just made 17 field goals from close too, despite having some crafty finishes around the rim. Like the other guards as well, he's also kind of a liability on the defensive end, having barely a positive defensive box score plus minus at 1.4. He also has a severe foul issue, averaging 5 fouls per 40 minutes, which would pretty much always put him in foul trouble if he played starter minutes. Pettiford's NBA future is quite interesting. His shot creation is legitimately the stuff of an all-star, and let's just say the basketball world is lucky he's not a few inches taller. He's also shown good feel as a playmaker, especially in the pick and roll, so I could definitely see him leading a bench in the future as a spark plug. Ultimately, though, I think his on-ball creation ability and just the star-level stuff he does with the ball in his hands at times is going to make up for the other flaws in his games and make him pretty productive in the NBA down the road. Boogie Fland is the next in line in Coach Cal's heritage of producing great NBA guards, being Arkansas's main initiator, averaging 16 points per game, 6 assists per game, 2 steals on 41, 37, 83 splits. What instantly stands out is the 6 assists, but more importantly the 3.5 assist to turnover ratio, despite having a fairly high usage at 24%, which is the highest of any freshman when it comes to assist to turnover ratios. And even though he's just 6'2", I honestly think he has the chance of being a plus defender. He has great hands and tenacity at the point of attack, generating almost 3 steals per game, and is pretty quick on his feet as well. He also has pretty good anticipation in passing lanes, and he also does have a positive wingspan, which is always a good indicator. As a scorer, defenses need to go over screens or he'll punish you from 3 off the dribble, currently shooting better than guys like Con Knipple and Ace Bailey. He's one of the best mid-range shooters in the class amongst guys like Trey Johnson and Ace Bailey as well. He's really good at navigating the pick and roll and getting to his spots in between the offensive half court. Now, all of that makes him sound like he's going to be the next guard Cal produces, but there is a big red flag with Fland, as he is the second worst finisher around the rim out of any high major freshman right now at 36%. Teams are more than fine with daring him to finish around the rim, and rightfully so, as other than a decent touch with a pretty nice floater, he does not have much to work with because of his small frame and lack of verticality. Out of all the guys we will talk about, Fland probably is the highest on mocks that I see, and I think I tend to agree. He's one of the better defenders of this group. In fact, he probably is, and he's one of the best passers in this class overall. I think the finishing stuff will hinder his ceiling a lot, and whether he could start for great teams or play in big playoff games and stuff like that, but I'm confident that Fland will be another productive one and done for Coach Cal. Last but definitely not least is one of the most intriguing and interesting prospects in the class right now, and that's Jace Richardson. At 6'3", Jace is averaging just 10, 2, and 2 right now, but it's how efficient and productive he is in just 22 minutes of game time that makes him a really appealing prospect to me, and the highest on my current big board out of any of these guards. Richardson's efficiency and advanced stats are nothing but green lights. As a 6'3" guard, he's shooting almost 60% of the field midway through the season. He has the second highest BPM of any freshman at 10, only behind the great Cooper Flag. On top of that, he's shooting 76% around the rim and 66% from 2 overall. From 3, he's shooting 47% from deep, which is second of all freshman high major players. He plays within his role really well and is useful coming off various screens, as well as being a really smart cutter off the ball. He's also been a pretty good passer when he gets the opportunity to be on the ball, and he's quick with the ball and super effective in transition while being a pretty good athlete. Now, the reason why he's not high on mock drafts, as his numbers suggest, is simply because his usage is just 16%, compared to other guards being mocked high, such as Dylan Harper, Jeremiah Fears, Kasparas Jakusiones, who are all over around 30%. He only takes 2 threes per game and 6 field goal attempts per game, so who knows what the efficiency numbers would look like if those numbers and usage went up. He's also pretty dominant as a left-handed player, almost always going left, and like the other guys, his small frame could hinder his ability to finish around the rim against NBA rim protectors, but his speed and verticality could suggest he could be the best of the group in that aspect. It's also kind of difficult to project his role at the next level. Not a lot of guys are 6'3" who play primarily off the ball, so whether Jace chooses to declare right away or follow his father and play for Tom Izzo for 2 years and work his way to the lottery with more usage next year is all just up to him. And either way, Jace's feel for the game and efficiency shows whenever he decides to enter the league, he'll probably be pretty damn productive. So now when it comes to rankings of, how these 5 guys will perform at the next level, I think Jace Richardson ultimately should be number 1 because his stats usually just don't lie. I don't think these stats are fake, even if the efficiency would 100% dip with more usage, and there is some upside on what he'd look like with the ball even more in his hands, even if the NBA role is difficult to project right now. Now, I could see a world where Fland is like a top 20 pick come draft night, but I am pretty turned off at a 6'2" guard who struggles that much from 2. I think his playmaking, shot making, and motor will help him stick around, but I am giving Jace the edge because of that intrigue of what he could look like with more opportunity. After that, I think there's a pretty decent drop-off, as those first 2 guys probably have first-round grades for me, but Pettiford and the rest of the guys are probably second-rounders at best this year. I do think Pettiford's shiftiness as a creator gives him the best ability out of the remaining 3 to stick. His shot-making and fearlessness just screams he's an NBA guy, even if he's one of the smaller guys here. Juny Mobley's shooting is always going to keep the window open, and for that, I could see him get multiple opportunities once he goes pro. I like his playmaking feel too. I just don't know how far he can go without being that highly touted of a passer and having some turnover flaws too. And last but not least, I have Wright. Not saying he's a bad basketball player or anything, but I do think he's the farthest along out of the other guys. Jace has the efficiency, Fland has the playmaking, Pettiford has the shot making, and Mobley has the shooting. For Wright, he's kind of just a jack of all trades, ace of nothing type player right now. And for that, I think it's best for him to stay around in college and fine-tune some skills. Anyways, that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know your thoughts on these prospects and who's your favorite out of the bunch in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more scouting and NBA content, leave a like and subscribe, as I will be posting more draft content and NBA stuff in the future. That's all for today, guys. I hope all of you take care. Thanks for watching, and peace.